Hello and welcome back everyone to my channel. This is going to be a Pickacard reading and it's going to be a mystery reading. So whatever comes out, and these are intended to be very specific so you'll know right away if it's for you or not. You won't have to guess or wonder. So you can go ahead and choose any of these piles. Pile 1, this seashell. And I think some of you may definitely be drawn to just watch the whole video and know that they're all for you. Pile 2. And pile 3. So if you would like to pick a pile, go ahead and pick one. If not, you can just watch the whole video and know that it could all apply to you. So we're going to start with pile 1. So for all those who chose pile 1, what are their mystery specific messages? So right away I heard missed opportunity, but I don't think there was a missed opportunity. It could have just felt like that. But there's something where it's a dodged a bullet type of situation, and whatever came to your mind first when I said that is what this is about. And if nothing came to mind, then this specific message is not for you. But this is about you tried to do, or you tried to put effort towards something, but not to the point where you were insisting on it. Like once you got the feedback that maybe you shouldn't keep giving to this situation, or that like you didn't try to be stubborn and just force it anyway. You tried your best, but then when you receive the signal that you need to stop trying or it's not gonna benefit you to keep putting effort in, you did listen to that signal. And you're going to be soon to be revealed, it's going to be soon to be revealed that this was the right choice to make and why you were guided away from this, even though it was something you felt drawn towards or something that you wanted. You're going to see why you really dodged a bullet, and you're going to have that feeling of being thankful that you chose to take the advice because it really saved you. So it feels like there's something excuse me, attached to this situation that would have affected you poorly. It's like, for example, let's say it was the Titanic and you were really excited and you had your trip planned, you'd be planning forever, and then someone told you, don't get on that ship. Just trust me, don't get on, don't go. And you really wanted to, and you tried to figure out why they were saying that, but at the end you chose to listen to the advice, not get on, and then imagine finding out what happened and being like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't get it. It's like that type of situation. So however that can apply to you. But another important thing about this situation is that you are getting what you want. So let's go back to the Titanic analogy. Let's say your goal was to go, I don't even know where they were going, but let's say your goal was to go to that country or wherever they were traveling to. You're still going to get to go there. You're still going to get the experience of being on a ship. You're still going to, whatever you wanted to get out of this situation. I almost said situationship, so if that applies, but whatever you intended, you will still get it. It's just this was not the way you were meant to. And another way is going to be revealed to you. If this was like the only possible way, and you're like, well, how else am I gonna get it? Another way will show up. But the important thing is that you are gonna get what you want. So whatever the goal was, whatever the intended outcome was of this, you are still going to receive that. So nothing like this thing, it's destined for you, it's meant for you. So it doesn't matter how it happens. It doesn't matter about the details. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And if one thing doesn't work out, another thing will. So I think maybe in this situation, you've been maybe hyper focused on the details and the how it's going to happen. And, if this detail didn't happen in this way, maybe it's not going to happen. And so maybe you were filled with doubt because you were focused on the details. But if you focus on the goal, what you want, and let go of how you think it's supposed to happen, that's really going to help you in this scenario. So don't worry, we're not done with this reading. That's just that message, because this is intended to be like multiple little messages. What else for pile 1? Right now, if it feels very turbulent, or you feel like you tackle one thing and then another thing comes in its place, and it's like you don't really have a time to rest or to breathe, you just kind of are faced with one thing after another, and then as soon as you fix that, here's another thing to fix, and it feels like rapid fire, like a lot being thrown at you, and you're handling it. I'm seeing like someone juggling, and then let's say they're holding 3 oranges and they're juggling it, and then someone throws them a 4th and they're like, okay, they're juggling it. Someone throws them a 5th, all right, and it's like they're handling it, but it keeps adding on more and more. And that's how you could feel right now about a specific situation. So this speed, it is helping it all happen faster. So although, okay, it's similar to if you take a course in college, you usually have the option to take, like you can take it over the longer period of time, like let's say 3 months, or you could take it in like 6 weeks. And it's the same information, but if you take the 6-week option, it's like all that information just shoved into 6 weeks. So you're going to have to be working harder, you're going to have to be taking more time, but you're going to be done faster. So in whatever this situation is, that, or maybe it's not a specific situation, but you've just noticed life really feels like it's being thrown at you, or like you're being given a lot, it's because it's speeding up the process of something you want to happen sooner. So don't associate that speed with, oh, all these troubles are speeding up, oh, all these problems are coming into my life quicker, because the same could be said for the solutions. Like the solutions are coming faster. There's something about you set the intention, you asked for things to move faster. You thought it was going too slow, and now it is moving faster. And this is the work of the moving faster. So just like if you were taking that 6-week course instead of the 3-month, it's like, yeah, it's more work, it's harder, but what are you getting out of it? You are completing this course in a smaller amount of time. So if you wanted to do another course, in the long run, you're going to be done faster. So there is a payoff. It's not just like you're doing all of this and nothing's going to happen. So know that as everything's being thrown at you at this time, there is a payoff or a payout, and that's what you're working towards. So focus on that. Don't focus on the work and how hard it is, and now I have to do this, and now my to-do list just keeps growing. Focus on what you're going to get out of it. And maybe you don't know exactly what that is, and that's okay. Just focus on the knowing, the inner knowing that it will pay off. And you don't need to know the details of how or any of the details. You just need to know that it will. And so you're not going to feel like unmotivated, like, wow, I just have all this work, and then when I'm done, I get more work. Like maybe you could be in that mindset, but if you switch it to knowing that, what about the payoff? What about why I'm doing this in the first place? Why I'm putting myself through this? Just know that it will pay off. So I'm gonna get one more message. I'll probably stick to like 3 messages per pile to keep this a little shorter. So the third message for pile 1, I feel like another card wants to come out. Okay. So I'm seeing somebody's feelings could have gotten hurt. And like, I feel like this could be you. Your feelings could have gotten hurt because something happened or someone said something, and it's like part of you is like, I know it's not a big deal, or I know they didn't mean it this way, or but like for some reason something really triggered you or really hurt you, and you feel embarrassed, or you're like, this shouldn't bother me, like this is childish, or this is beneath me, or like I don't care about this, but you're surprised at how deeply it hurts. Like maybe someone made a little comment and then you're like, wow, that actually really upset me. But it's like something happened that hurt you or broke your heart a little, and it feels out of proportion to you. You feel like people would not take you seriously if you try to explain why, or even maybe you don't know why, or just the fact that it hurt you. But it's because there's something deeper that it triggered. So it's not just that comment. It's not that you're upset about that or about that little thing that happened. I'm getting, it could even be like a stranger making a comment, like you're out in public and a stranger says something, or it could be, it's something that on the surface seems small and unimportant, but it really deeply affected you. So, and again, this is one of those messages that you'll know if it's for you. And if you're trying to make it fit, then it's not. If you follow this, I'm seeing like Alice in Wonderland, like going down the rabbit hole. If you follow this feeling, don't brush this off, because you're not meant to brush it off. You're not meant to be mad at wherever it came from, at the source. It's not about the source. It's about what it triggered within you. If you follow this path and start investigating, why did this hurt so much? Why am I feeling this way? Where is this coming from? It's gonna lead you to some type of like gift or surprise. I'm seeing it like open up, like blooming like a flower. Like there's just this darkness, like one of those flowers that blooms in the dark, okay? It's like everything's dark, and then you see one thing, and it's this beautiful flower opening up. It's like pink, purple, and which could represent I think that's the third eye chakra. But anyway, it's something that, it's like a discovery that you're meant to make within yourself. And this was just the trigger. It was not supposed to be about this. This was just a thing to trigger it, to like awaken it. I'm also seeing a trail of, I don't know if it's gunpowder or like whatever people make a trail of, and then you light it and it like, the whole trail lights. It's like that, like this was the spark, but where it's leading to, that's where you need to follow. You don't have to. This isn't saying you have to, but there's something that it's a part of you. Okay, now I'm seeing it like being a muscle, like having a knot in your muscle. Like let's say you're very athletic, you're very flexible, but there's this one muscle or tendon that it always is very tight, or like gives you trouble. And that's the part that this is leading you to. So it's something where like it's ready and wanting to open up, is kind of like that last part, or that missing piece. Like every other part is opened up, but there's just this one part, something that's unhealed. And I'm getting, it's as simple as it wants to be acknowledged. This part of you, it just wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be set free. It's kind of like a little kid who they're waiting, like all these kids are talking to, and there's this one, and they just want to tell you one little thing, and then they tell you and then they run off. It's like, oh, that's it? That's all they wanted. Like it's not complicated, but if you follow this path, it will lead you to something that's ready to open up, and it will bring you hope, bring you happiness. But I almost said hope. So hope too. Bring you happiness and hope, but it will heal this trigger, and you'll never be triggered in this way again if you follow this. So that's all I'm getting for you, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching, and if you would like to see more, you can like and subscribe. But until next time, goodbye. All right, let's get into pile 2, this clear quartz. This pile could have a connection to Lemuria. I think I said that right, because I want to say Lemurian quartz, but that's not what this is. It's just a regular clear quartz. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I was told. All right, for pile 2, what are their mini mystery messages? This feels a little related to the first message of pile 1, if you felt drawn to that pile, or maybe you're just watching all 3. So I'm picking up on a situation where it feels like everyone involved, it almost feels like a play or a movie, but it feels like you experienced something in this situation with these people, And I don't know if you were gaslit, or it's almost like if you asked each individual in this situation, like you took them alone, interviewed them, you would get a completely different story from each person. Like, you would almost think everyone's telling a different story or talking about a different thing, because everyone would give such a different account of what happened, how it went down, all the details. And it feels like almost collectively, like everyone joined up to agree on something, or to agree. Okay, here's what I'm trying to say. It felt like it was in the best interest of everyone involved, except you, to go with a certain story, to be like, oh yeah, that's what happened. Even though everyone's story is different, or everyone's perspective is different, there's still something where everyone but you agreed on. So it feels like you were left out somehow, or like maybe what happened to you in this situation was greatly minimalized, or there is some gaslighting of like, oh, it's fine, oh, this happened, oh, but like your version and how you experienced it is very different. So this feels like for a long time everyone went with the easier story. It's like they went with the story that benefited them, but it wasn't necessarily the truth, or maybe it was parts of the truth, but intentionally leaving out other parts that would have really changed the story. So there's something about people getting away, or thinking they got away with, oh yeah, it happened that way, or oh, it was just this. And you're like, not for me. That's not how it happened for me. And you felt dismissed. You felt like for you, it was way, okay, it's like they tried to make it smaller, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's just whatever, or like, oh, it was just this that happened. But it's like your feelings were being gaslit. Like maybe they're like, yeah, I did that, I said that happened, but it's not a big deal, or it's, there's something about like people making it seem like it's not as bad as it was for you. So in regards to this situation, it's ran its course and the truth is ready to come out. And I think you've been hoping on that for a long time, and maybe believing that, seeing signs that would happen, but it never actually did. And so you started to almost to gaslight yourself, or be like, maybe it wasn't a big deal. Maybe, you started to believe the story that everyone else was saying. This is ending. This was always meant to end. There were details that you won't understand now, but you'll understand them later, of, why it happened in the way it did and took the time it did. But you need to know that this situation is over. And whatever seemed like it was like got away with, or just brushed over, or like stolen or lost from you, this is going to be revealed. And you're going to be seen as, everyone's going to see you and be like, wow, that's what you experienced, but this is how you act. Like, they're going to be amazed by you, because you didn't, like, they're thinking, if it was me, I would have, done this and this and this, and I would have, but they're just seeing. So there's something about people needing to see you, get to know you, and then find out this truth, because it's going to help them see the truth of you. You're probably misunderstood a lot. You're probably someone who people just don't get it. People just don't get you. But that's why they needed to get to know you first, before they knew what happened, before they knew the story, because it's going to change how they feel about it. Because they're going to think, how could you do this? Not like you did something, but like, how could you handle it this way? How could you go through this? How could you still be XYZ, like, after all this? Like, I would I would have, and they'll say what they would have done. But it's like, you're inspiring because, like, if you, let's say you meet a very kind person, and you may think they're kind because they've never really experienced anything that bad, and so they've really never known hard times, and then you find out something about their story and you're like, what, them? Like, and it just makes the person have this whole new perspective. But if they would have known the story first, they may have seen you through the lens of it, or there's something about it having to happen in this order. So now it's being revealed because now that people know you. And when they find this out, it's going to be like it's going to be undeniable. And everything everyone else tried to dismiss or ignore, it's going to be very obvious, blatantly obvious. So let's get another message for pile 2. Someone's been very patient. Someone watching this pile has been very, very patient and not willing to lower their standards and not willing to settle, and felt lonely because maybe you passed up on opportunities and you felt left out. You knew they weren't for you. You knew you'd be settling, but still it was hard to feel left out. But you committed anyway. You committed to yourself. That's what it is. You committed to yourself. You, like when people say, oh, I'm dating myself. It's like, I choose me. And that's what you did. You chose yourself over and over. And every time something tempting came along, like, well, you could have this, or you could, but it's like, but that's not fully what I wanted. So it was like almost a test. Like, are you going to settle because you don't want to wait anymore? Or are you going to keep waiting because you refuse to settle for less than you know you deserve or than you want? And that's what you've done. You've committed to yourself, and that commitment, that's something people don't even necessarily do in their lifetime, like commit to themselves on that level. But when you commit to yourself first above anything else, and regardless of anything physical, your world has to reflect that back to you, that choosing you. You may have felt like in your life you didn't get chosen. Maybe you got overlooked. Maybe you got left out, or you just never felt like the first pick. You never felt, maybe on the inside you're like, I would be great at this. Why aren't I being picked? Like, maybe you knew your worth, but you didn't understand why other people couldn't see it, or why other people weren't choosing you. So it's because you weren't choosing you. You weren't putting yourself first, but now you are. And now you're going to see what life looks like when you are put first, because you did it yourself. So as much as you've been through, as much as you've been patient, you've been developing this commitment to you. Because just like if someone gets married or in a relationship and they're saying, I choose to commit to you, they can say that with their words, but it's still going to take time to prove that their actions show they're committed. They can't just say they're committed. They have to, over time, build that trust up in what they said. So that's what you've done. You haven't just said it. You've built that trust with yourself. You've built that relationship where you are committed to you, and you are not going to settle, and you're going to defend yourself, and you're going to stand up for yourself, and you're going to be your own advocate no matter what. And that is the point you had to get to for everything to be able to change and happen for you like you want. So although you've been very patient having to wait so long, that wait is over, because you've proven that you are committed to yourself. That is not just a thought or an idea. You've proven by your actions over and over that you are committed. And that is what's going to be reflected back to you in safety and security. Because I think at some point you realized you couldn't trust. I mean, even if you have money, that money can be lost. That money can be stolen. Maybe you have a bunch of cash, and then one day cash has no value. Like, as safe and secure as you can feel on a physical level, it still has its limits. And I think you realized that, and you wanted a life where you were connected to something that made you feel safe no matter what. And that was that relationship to yourself. That was knowing you have you all the time. You will always have your own back. You will always make your dreams come true. You will always support and love yourself and trust yourself. That is that thing that can't be taken from you, that can't be destroyed, that can't be shaken. It's not something physical. It can't be lost. And now that you've reached this point, everything's going to change for you in a better way. Everything's going to feel safe. Everything's going to feel secure. And it's not going to be because of the physical part of it. It's going to be, maybe you will get more money, but you'll know that if you lose that, something else will come. You're not worried. You're not in that lack mindset. Even if, as you're getting more and more, you're still not going to be in lack. So, let me do, okay, the last for pile 3. Okay. So, there was a heartbreak that you've gotten over, that maybe you thought you never would get over, but you finally did. Something that you thought would be a part of you forever. Something that you're like, even if I get what I want, even if my dreams come true, I'll always have this sadness or this darkness because of this hurt. But I think anyway, you did try to heal it. And it is healing because you believed it could be. You said, well, maybe I don't have to be this way forever. Maybe I don't have to live with this in my heart forever. So I'm getting that fire's being put out, a fire that had been burning you, a fire that had felt like this eternal flame that it was just going to always be burning you and you just have to deal with it. It's being put out, and I'm getting that it's being put out by your own tears. So maybe you've been extra emotional, you've been crying a lot lately, you've been releasing a lot, and that release is like, think of all that tension as like the fuel to the fire, but as it's being released, that fire's going out, and the tears, it's like the rain, like there was a drought and there was these wildfires, but now it's finally raining and it's just putting it all out. So there's a need to tell you, like, to congratulate you because you did it. You took something that you thought was inevitably going to be this dark part on your soul, and you actually defeated it. You defeated this energy. It was actually the belief that you defeated. You defeated the belief that it would be forever, that it was a part of you, that it was always going to be a part of you. That's what you really overcame. You stopped choosing to believe that. And I'm getting that as this situation resolves, it's going to be replaced with something much better. It's going to be replaced with love and happiness in your heart. Where that darkness once was, where it felt like it always would be, now it's going to feel like there's just always going to be this happiness and this love there, no matter what. So you're going to be experiencing the opposite of that darkness, of this forever love attached to you. So you have healed it. You made it. You did it. Congratulations. It's no longer a part of you. It's no longer in your soul, in your spirit, in your records, however you want to think of it. You've ended this contract with this darkness, and now it can be replaced with love and healing, and it is in this very moment. So that is all I'm getting for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see more, you can like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye. I'm gonna go do something real quick, so if you're watching this whole video all the way through, just skip to the beginning of pile 3, or this will just take like 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for your patience. So now we're gonna move on to our cute little pile 3. I don't know why I felt like saying that, but you're a cutie if you picked this pile. And even if you didn't, still a cutie, but that needed to be said. All right. For pile 3, what are their mystery messages? I'm hearing your intuition was correct about how somebody feels. You know exactly how somebody feels. Okay. You have a very good ability to tune in to people's emotions, like a clairsentience. You can feel what people are feeling. But this could have confused you because you feel what they feel on such a deep level that you may feel it more than they are aware that they feel it. So these people, if you're looking for physical cues to confirm what they feel or what you feel they feel, you're not going to see it most of the time because it's so hidden, it's so deep within them. It's like their deepest, truest feelings, and a lot of people are not connected to their deepest, truest feelings. But that's what you can tune into in other people. But the confusion gets there when you start to be like, well, if that was true, then they would act like this, or they would say this, or they wouldn't have done this. But it's like, no, you have to understand with this ability you have, you can't look for physical evidence because you're most of the time you're not going to find it. And like I said, it's such a deep level that you're connected to. These people may not even be aware of it, of it to the extent that you are. So you can feel what they're feeling in their heart of hearts. But if that person's very closed off from their heart, they're not probably even going to know. I mean, they'll know, but they aren't. There's like this middle ground between subconscious and conscious where it's like you're semi-conscious. I'll call it that, semi-conscious. It's that type of thing where, let's say you hear advice or you hear someone say something and you're like I already knew that, but for some reason when they said it, it finally clicked. Or like you could have heard something over and over, but for some reasons you hear it this one time and now you get it. So you always knew it semi-consciously, but it wasn't in the very forefront of your being, if that makes sense. And that's what you're able to pick up on in others. So you need to understand that knowledge, it's not so that you can look for evidence that it's true. That's not the point of it. And I don't know exactly what the point of it for you is, because that's going to be different depending on each person of why you're being given this information. And maybe for some of you, you just want to know. You're just curious. And so you have the ability. And so maybe it's not some deeper meaning. It's just like you want it. And so you got it. You want to know what they're thinking? Here. You want to know what they're feeling? Here. But, I mean, of course, you could say everything has a deeper meaning or everything doesn't. It just depends on your perspective. But this is confirmation because I think you've been doubting something and it's been really confusing you because you've been feeling it so strongly, like undeniably. But every time you look for evidence to support it, and you could be seeing 333 a lot, but it doesn't have to. But it's like every time you're like, well, if that's true, then shouldn't this be this way? Or shouldn't they have said this or done this? But that's what's throwing you off. That's what's making you feel like maybe you're picking up on the wrong signal. Maybe you're not as intuitive as you thought you were, but that's not true. You're just psyching yourself out by needing the physical evidence. But yes, someone has these very deep feelings. And another thing is when people aren't ready yet to fully accept their feelings, they can kind of energetically push it out. This is what I'm being told. They can push it out of their aura or out of their energetic field. They can't fully get rid of it because it's still part of them, but they can temporarily like put it off. And that's why you could be picking up on it even more, is because like when they're almost energetically sending it to you, like, no, I don't want this. And you're like, oh, I'm right here and I'm like a sponge to this. So you're absorbing it. Like it's almost the more they push it away, the more you feel it. Okay, so if you're feeling it so strongly, but the person's acting so different, that could just show you how much they're not feeling ready to feel it, and they're like trying to get it out of their energy. And so it's being like pushed onto you and you're feeling it that strongly. That could be an answer for someone. But I'm getting that a lot of your stress and worries are coming from you doubting yourself and your own abilities. And you're thinking, well, if I'm wrong about this, what else am I wrong about? Or what else am I picking up wrong? Your intuition is not there for you to look for the physical evidence. That kind of defeats the purpose. Your intuition is there to help you see the truth when the physical is showing the opposite. When you're seeing illusions, your intuition is there to guide you in the right direction of the truth, to tell you what's what, to be your discernment. So again, the idea, because I think the way you're going about it is like, okay, I feel this. Now let me look for evidence that it's true, that I'm really feeling this, that it's not. But it's like, no, that's going to confuse you and make you think you don't have these abilities. So let go of the need to find evidence. Your evidence is your intuition, your feeling. That is the evidence. Let that be the only evidence you need. And that is going to snap you back into your intuitive place that you know you are always in, that you were just doubting for a minute. All right. And also let go of needing to know why. If you're like, well, why would I need to, why do I have this info? There has to be a reason. Like if that is stressing you out, let go of needing to know why and just accept that you know it and that more will be revealed in time. But for now, you're picking this up, you're meant to know it. You don't need to know why. Okay. Next message for pile 3. Okay. It's coming up again, Nine of Swords. So I heard, excuse me, that you have a choice to make, and this could be related to your throat chakra, like a choice in regards to telling somebody something or speaking up about something. Okay, but what about this? I think you just need to make a choice, because it's not that there's a right or wrong choice, but it's like, all right, it's like one of those stories or games where you can choose, do you go this way or do you go this way? Do you like choose your own adventure type, you know? Like there's no wrong choice, but you're gonna have to make a choice to move forward. So you can't just stay on the excuse me, you can't just stay on the fence or on the edge forever. Like you have to eventually make a choice or nothing will move forward. So I think that's important for you to know, because I think you've got caught up in like, what's the right way? What's the wrong way? It's neither. They're just different experiences. So take the stress and pressure off of you of like making the right choice. Know that whatever choice you end up choosing is your right choice, and get it out of your head, like the polarity, like, oh, this is bad and this is good. And if I do this, then the bad will happen. And if I do this, good. Like, it's not like that. It's not black and white, which for some of you, I feel like you're like, well, that makes it even more confusing. Then just choose what you want. Choose what feels most aligned with your desires, what feels most aligned with the version of you, the version of yourself that you see, that you want to be, that highest version of yourself. What choice would that version make? Ask yourself that, and that's going to really help clear this up for you. So yeah, just need to know that there's not a wrong choice. You're not going to mess this up. It's going to be an adventure either way. What would your highest self do? What choice would they make? If you weren't influenced by your ego, by your fears, by your past holding you back, like what choice would you make? And if you ask yourself that, it should be very clear, the answer for you. So that is all I'm getting for you, pile 3. Thank you so much for watching. And if you would like to see more, you can like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.